Okay, so moving from storyboards to dashboards, what are we needing to think about for dashboards? So instead of displaying a single finding, here you're going to allow the audience to explore the data on their own. And again, we've been playing with these where you've been able to filter things and kind of check it out, even if the dashboard has a particular finding it's trying to lead you to, you can still explore the data and draw your own conclusions from that. So this is where the user interface really comes into play a lot more than with a single graph. Okay, so what should we be thinking about? First is to remove the clutter. You want to minimize any extraneous things on here. Even things like company logos and stuff like that is just in the way. It's not adding anything to the dashboard, so get rid of anything that's extra. You want to use a cohesive color scheme. You might remember from last week the Sakura finding, well, the cherry tree blossoms. As we went down the panel, the upper ones are like super pretty, and then the lower ones, like the colors just stopped matching the rest of it, and it was kind of jarring. So you want to avoid that type of effect. Include instructions. If you're designing things for someone who's used to Tableau, then it might not be so hard. But if you specifically, for example, design something to be like, you click this and it filters everything else, then it's nice to point people to that. And again, we've had dozens of examples of this where we've had different qualities of, of how well the implementation has gone on for those. So point out where people are supposed to filter things. And make sure that all of your filters and such are labeled well. And speaking of that, consider the audience. What does your audience know about the data beforehand, and what are they seeking to learn? So if you're in a business environment where you're presenting a sales dashboard, they're already familiar with all the acronyms, they have the context, and you can just go straight to it. For someone like me looking at your project data, I probably don't have much knowledge about whatever you are doing. So you need to make sure that everything is clear. Your titles and descriptions are clear, that that it just intuitively makes sense when I'm looking at it. And then the last piece here is don't overwhelm. So when you're looking at panels, 2, 3, 4 max, we don't, like, even if you look at the one on the right there, the 4-pane design, it is cluttered. There's a lot going on there. 2 or 3 is a little bit easier on the eyes, just depending on what's going on. So if you are using a 3-panel design like this one on the left, here the state, the geographic location here is considered the most important data piece. So it's not just up there because it's like more visually appealing, although it is, but it is considered to be the most important part of it. And then the one on the right, this shows you the way that people are going to be viewing this effect, right? Like we read like that, and then the filters and stuff are kind of like the last thing that our eyes hit because they're over here. Obviously, this is centered towards English and similar languages. Not all languages do this, and so not all cultures will have this exact natural pattern of reading a dashboard. So I don't know what variety there, if how universal this is at this point of the internet and all the things, but just be aware that this is, you know, centered on certain cultures, but this is generally how dashboards and similar things are designed to be read left to right, top to bottom. Okay, So once you've kind of figured out which charts need to go into a data visualization, probably wondering how we connect those together as with our filters, because we've seen a lot of examples of these cool filtering features, right? Okay, so inside of a dashboard, there's two ways to get to the use as a filter type thing. And this is when you want to use a chart as the filter itself. So in this case, in this example, there's a pie graph that they're using to filter all the other things on the dashboard. So you can either hit the little down arrow, and there's a little thing that says use as filter, or there's the little funnel sign that is also the quick button for the use as a filter. So if you click that, instantaneously, now when you click your pie chart, you click a map, whatever, that one will act as a filter for all the other graphs in your particular workbook or in your dashboard. So that is one way to connect them together and do filtering. The other thing you can add to a dashboard is filtering the individual items instead of using a chart as a filter. So this would be adding in an extra something to click. So here you can see that if you click that down arrow, here's that use as a filter. Here is just filters, and then it'll give you options relevant to your particular graph. What that does is it throws this little box on the side and gives you that filter that so you can add, so you can click those, unclick, check what you not, whatever you need there. Okay, different types of charts will give you different types of filters automatically. The third thing that you can do is actually apply a filter to the worksheet itself. And in that case, you can actually, oh, I have these backwards. 1 second, please. There we go. So if you go to the top where you have your columns and rows, and you go to whatever the thing you want to do the filtering on, click this little arrow here, you can get this show filter to come up. They'll automatically send a filter to the right side of your thing, and then you can select the type of filter that you want. Okay, so let me pull up my trusty Tableau here, and I'm going to see, this is one that originally did not have a filter, so I'm going to bring that over here. Okay, so this is a worksheet. This is my GDP diff graph. All I have to do here is I can just go to the GDP amount, and I can add a filter from that. It's kind of a weird one. There's a reason why I didn't have that originally. Go over here. This one I already have these on here. Actually, let me get to one of these. So these, like the company, this one here, and you can see this is actually one that's applied across multiple graphs, gives us the ability to filter by each company. So the filter was dragged over here and just applied there. The dates there and the aggregated ratings, those are those respectively. When you click on any of these, oh, sorry, that's a highlighting one. Here we go, rating selection. So this is the type that allows you to select a single value. If I wanted to do a drop-down list, I can do that, compact type. I could awkwardly make it a slider. This is a really bad option for this type of thing. And I can make you type it in, that's even worse. So I'd rather have little bubble so you can do it that way. Okay. Yeah, so every type of graph that you have, you're going to have different options. For this particular one, wanting this to be filterable by company was a pretty generic thing, so it appears on a lot of my little workbooks here. And then if you have a blank sheet in your story, so this one I took the filter off, and that one is just there, right? Let's see, I'm going to delete that and add a new one of these. Here, I dragged this over, it retained all the little filter things that were on the actual regular workbook things, as you can see here. For our internal ones here, where do those pop up? So when you click on any of these elements here, use as filter here, there's more options, use as a filter there, filters here. You can see all these different options that were built into this graph that we could filter it on. Okay, so clicking this will add in those, and then you can move around your elements as you need to make sure that your board is cohesive. And I would recommend trying to make sure that you pair stuff together. Like this and this are very similar, but I still paired them together with our thing. Company is associated with this. I gave a little space for this overall filter over here. Following that left to right thing, I'd set it up so that you filter first and then your eyes go like that. But I mean, it is still a little busy. Here, this should be the one that they see first, but it's so high up, I might have redesigned this a little bit to drop this down and put it underneath that. So all these little different things to consider as you're thinking about placing your elements on your dashboards. Okay, so I'm going to pause here and we will continue on this series.